A very good morning to you, dear students. Today we will study part 2 of power sharing. I hope you have checked out the part 1, which was very easy, and part 2 is also very easy. Now, part 2 contains the forms of power sharing. This is a short question in the exam, so I will hope that you will pay good attention to it. So, shall we begin? Types of power sharing. Now, these are four types of power sharing between different organs of government. You already know the organs of the government. It is legislature, executive, and judiciary, also known as horizontal distribution. Power sharing between governments at different levels, also known as vertical form of power sharing between the central, state, and the local government. Power sharing between different social groups, and power sharing between political parties, social groups, etc. Now we will get into that in detail. Now this is the first form, the horizontal power sharing. However, they are written in a circle. Now, anytime when you explain the horizontal power sharing or the forms of power sharing, you should remember that you should explain the merits and demerits of power sharing so that your answer becomes very precise. Like in another video, I have told you that the soil erosion and the control measures is a very short question. Like that, from this chapter, power sharing is a short question, and it is obviously asked because this chapter there is a 5 mark question, and that is this one. We'll begin with the first one, that is horizontal form of power sharing. Now, what is horizontal form of power sharing? Horizontal form of power sharing is the power sharing between different organs of the government, which are the legislature, judiciary, and executive. Now, take a look at one point. Each organ checks the other. How? Legislature makes the law, judiciary checks the law, executive implements the law. Whenever there is a problem in implementing it, the judiciary or the legislature checks the executive. Whenever the law itself has defects, the judiciary checks it. So each organ checks the other. Horizontal distribution allows different organs to exercise different powers. Already I told that legislature has different powers. They make the law in the parliament. Judiciary, the High Court and the Supreme Court, custodian of fundamental rights, solves disputes, settles disputes. Executive implements it, the political executive and the permanent executive. Now, here, all ministers, government officials are responsible to parliament and state assemblies. This is the executive. No organ gets unlimited powers. No organ gets unlimited powers. The idea is to make sure that they are independent, still no unlimited power. Because each organ checks the other, it becomes a system of checks and balances. Judges can also check the working of other organs, that is judiciary. Now, it altogether it results in balance of power. See, so many points you got it from this horizontal power sharing, right? Nearly. There are advantages, there are disadvantages. The disadvantage is if you have unlimited powers, it would result in not the balance, right? But we do not have that. We have a balance of power here. It's the first one, that is the horizontal. If you remember like this, probably might be easy as horizontal. Now we'll go to the next one. This is also called as vertical form of power sharing. Now this power sharing is done among the governments at different levels. Where are the governments? They are in three levels. Let us say it is the central government, state government, local government. Local government is also known as Panchayati Raj government. Now, state government, there is a very big government, that is central government or federal government. Under it, there is a state government. Now, constitutional distribution of power to the state and center. The power the constitution has written is written in such a way that both the state government and central government share some of the powers. They share some powers in for making law, they share the powers to distribute the revenue. So we are going to study about this in the next chapter, that is federalism. How is federalism practiced in a country like India? Same with the panchayats. Like you have seen, the federal government and the state government have arrangement for power and revenue. The state government and the local government, that is the Panchayati Raj government, will have arrangement in the same way as they have with the central government. This is called as vertical division of power, right? Here, now you cannot say that they are independent. Now, in a country like India, state governments are heavily dependent on central government because it's an example of a holding together federation. Now, if you see US, that is coming together federation. Depending on which type of federation you are, your country is divided into different organs, different governments. But here in our country, state governments do not have so much autonomy, right? Third one is pretty easy. Different social groups, religious, linguistic. We'll take one by one, right? Pretty easy one. Well, looking at it, we'll get the example that it is in Belgium, right? Community government is an example for the third form of power sharing. You should mention this as this carries 1 mark, right? Now, let me come to the explanation. Power can be divided with different social groups. Countries like diverse countries. Example, Sri Lanka, Belgium. India is a very big example for the diversity. So if you do not share with the majority and the minority, normally what happens? The minority's demands are suppressed by the majority in government and it leads to conflict. And the social conflict will lead to probably civil war like it was done in Sri Lanka. So it is very much necessary to share the power between social groups, right? Can be different ethnic groups, religious groups, and linguistic. So thus India, you know that Indian constitution provides cultural and educational rights, right, to preserve your culture. It provides right to religion. You can I already studied in the last year democratic rights. It you can practice, profess, and propagate any religion. So thus creating no conflicts. We do not have conflicts in terms of the power sharing between the social groups, religious and linguistic. I'll give you a very simple example. If there is a government, right, any ex-government, if you take the ministers, right, they won't be from a single community. They will be different. They will be from different communities. One will be from A community, one will be from B community, C, D. Now, how is this representation given? It is given based on the population. For example, A is a majoritarian, so they will get more posts. B minority, they will get 1 2 posts, but representation shall be given. That is why we will not have any conflict. That is how it is done here. Why? Because it accommodating the social diversity who would feel otherwise alienated if you do not give or if you do not support the demands of the minority. It will lead to conflict. The last one is the power sharing between the political groups, pressure groups, movements, right? Now, this can be explained in 2 ways. The first one will go from here. Power sharing can be done with formation of coalition government. It can be done in 2 ways. One, before going to the polls, right? Before going to the polls, you can just share the vote or the constituency, right? It is called alliance. Alliance. You can have an alliance with some other party and you can jointly go and contest the elections. That is before elections, right? That is also a kind of power sharing. The second one would be coalition. What is coalition? When your government or your party doesn't have a majority, then you can take the support from other party and you can make a coalition government. Best example would be the central government where NDA was there, UPA. NDA is still there. UPA was there. UPA was headed by Congress. NDA obviously headed by BJP. Now, in our own state, Karnataka, before the BJP government came, Congress and JDS were coalition in a coalition government, right? That is one way to do. The second one is the influence of the interest group, businessmen, industrialists, and farmers. These are what you call as pressure groups. For them, the policy is made, right? And they influence. Now, when you go for polling and all, you would be getting funding from the businessmen or industrialist, so they will give you a lot of money, they will fund your party. So why do they do it? They want you to do good things to them, so it becomes your concern that you work for them. However, you work for the people that have elected you. Still, there are some policies which are made for the interest of the pressure group. So these pressure groups often try to control the political power. So let's say that party A is in power, but behind it there is a pressure group which is controlling whole of it, right? That is how it is being done in the fourth case. This is the summary of whatever I explained till now. You can pause the video and you can read again this one. All I have explained all of this, and thus it brings to the end of the part 2. It's a very very small video, but look at the concept. The whole concept is for 5 marks. In this chapter, the important things to know is the composition of Sri Lanka and Belgium, the 1956 Act in Sri Lanka, how the power was accommodated in Belgium, and the types of power sharing and why the power sharing is desirable. Only these many questions will come in this chapter. So it was a pretty easy chapter. Now I hope that you have understood this one. If you have any questions, like always, you can write to me or you can ask in the comment box. So thank you for watching the video, and it was always lovely to teach. Thank you guys, and bye bye.